So what would I say to that person who criticized my voice and my singing in a public forum? I would say, thank you so much. I really mean it, because the whole point of this channel and one of the main things that I love to teach in my voice studio is the art of criticism. Not just how to do it, but why it's so important. Because if you don't know what a really well-developed sound sounds like, you're not going to be able to make a well-developed sound. And I think one of the reasons why our industry struggles sometimes is that we have started losing the ability to criticize, to do it constructively, to be able to do it respectfully, and do it in ways that help our industry to grow and help our singers to grow and improve. And there are ways to criticize incorrectly, and I will talk about some of those ways in this video today. But for the most part, it is so important for every singer to learn how to criticize and take the criticisms that they learn from other singers and develop it into their own voices. So let's talk about a few reasons why people have a hard time with criticism, or why they think that we shouldn't be criticizing. One of the most common arguments against criticism, for example, if you get on a YouTube forum and you criticize a singer that you hear, people could respond, and often do, and they'll say things like, well, can you do any better? Or why don't we hear what you can do if you think that you're so worthy of criticizing? So that's one thing that people say. A second thing that often gets said is, well, why should we be comparing singers? Can't we just enjoy them all for what they each bring? And I totally understand where people are coming from who say either of those two things. Either we shouldn't criticize because who are you, like, you're not good enough, you're not better than this person, so why should you criticize? Or the people who say, let's just appreciate art for what it is, and why do we even need the comparison? I get where everyone is coming from, but I will say that if you are just a fan of opera, like you just want to listen to opera, then the criticism is probably not as helpful for you. But if you're a singing student, someone who wants to pursue a career as an opera singer, then it is so crucial for you to learn how to criticize, compare, and apply the things that you learn into your own singing. Let me kind of talk about the first of the two things that people say. If they say to you, well, can you do any better? My response is that the point of my criticism isn't to show that I'm better than somebody else. The point of my criticism is to learn from the singer. And I believe that any singer can learn from any other singer, whether the singer knows more than you, has a bigger career than you, has better developed vibrato than you, can sing higher notes than you, or whether they don't have those things. If you as a student don't learn how to criticize, then you won't be able to hear the things that are working, the things that aren't working very well. And especially if you become a voice teacher one day and you haven't learned the art of criticism, then students will come into your office and they are literally paying you to criticize them. Criticize them, obviously, not in the typical way that we would think of that word. We're not berating or being overly critical, but you're supposed to be able to break down their voice and tell them exactly what they're doing and tell them what to do to make a different sound. You have to be able to criticize. And even if you don't want to be a voice teacher, if you don't know how to criticize sounds, but then you listen to your own recordings and you're like, well, I don't really like my voice, or I don't like this, but you don't know why, you don't know what's going on, you don't know how to criticize, you'll never be able to learn. And so, yes, even if the singer can do things that you can't do, or has a bigger career than you, or maybe even has a prettier voice than you, every single singer has something that they could develop more. And so I would not only say that singers should be criticizing singers at their own level or below their level, but if they can learn how to criticize the singers who are even more advanced than they are, then that is going to push them to higher levels in their own singing. So yes, if you're just a fan of opera, then maybe this type of criticism is not going to be super helpful for you. But if you want to learn how to sing, or you want to learn how to teach other people to sing, then you got to be on your A game, building those critical listening skills. So the second thing that people say is, let's just enjoy the art. Why compare? And again, if you're just a fan of opera, then this might make a lot of sense to you. Can you imagine, let's say, a swimmer who's at practice? Do you know that swimmers now have these pools that they swim in where the coaches will look through the glass on the side so they can see their technique better? And it's like an endless pool. I've seen videos of it. Can you imagine a swimmer at swim practice and the coach being like, we're not going to compare our swimming technique to other swimmers because all the techniques are just valid. Let's just appreciate all these different techniques that exist, and everything's created equal. And the swimmer's like, but like, I want to be able to swim faster. I want to be able to swim more like Michael Phelps. And yes, granted, swimming is a competition, and I personally am not a fan of competitions, especially in the arts. So like comparing singers as far as like who's going to get the gold medal, that's not what I'm talking about. But comparing singers as far as this thing is working well in your voice and this thing is not working well in your voice, that's a completely different conversation to have. Because if you're in swim practice and your coach says, let's not compare swimming technique, you're going to be like, I think I need a different coach. Because I want to watch videos. I want to know exactly what to do with my feet angle and my, like if I'm doing a dolphin kick, am I kicking too much like this, or how much to spread my knees apart when I'm doing my breaststroke? Or what are the best swimmers in the world, and with my body type, what can I learn from other swimmers that have my same body type? Or, you know, and yes, there are different techniques, and some techniques work a little bit better for this swimmer or not as well for this swimmer. But if you're not comparing and criticizing, you're not going to know how to do it. And so I think it is the same in singing. Yes, it's an art form. And I can totally appreciate, there are singers out there that I know that have technical deficiencies. I can still appreciate them for the artists that they are, for the people that they are, and for the things that they're able to do with their voices, even if they have technical deficiencies. And I'm grateful that they exist. And 100% of the singers that are out there in this world deserve to be singing. There is no one singer that is more worthy or less worthy to be on the stage, to be singing, to making money from their singing, whether their voice is falling apart or whether they have like the strongest, most beautiful voice that's ever existed. Every singer is worthy to be singing, and that's like a hill that I will die on. But that doesn't mean that I can't learn from all the singers, make the comparisons, learn what's working in the singers' voices, making my own voice stronger, making my students' voices stronger, and making my art more impactful as I build stronger techniques and can make my voice more powerful and softer and sweeter and more all of the different things, and expand my range and sing different things. In the same way that if your swimming coach isn't helping you to compare your technique to other swimmers and helping you to swim like the very strongest swimmers that have ever lived, if your singing teacher is not regularly talking to you about the singing technique of other singers, listening with you, teaching you how to listen, comparing, and helping you to know exactly what's happening between all the strongest singers and the weaker singers, if they are not doing that, then they're not teaching you how to sing. Because if you don't know what it sounds like, you won't know how to do it. So it's such an important piece of the puzzle. And a lot of the best opera singers in history were raised listening to the other great opera singers in history in opera houses. And you might not live next to an opera house, but guess what? You got YouTube, you've got these great recordings, and we've all got so much that we can learn from listening to singers and building what we got. It's really exciting. Now, there are a few guidelines about how to criticize, how to compare, and do it in a respectful and kind way, because oh my goodness, we all know that there is enough negativity and toxicity in this world. Enough jerks. We don't need any more of that. We've got enough of that. What we really need is to be able to get to the real nitty-gritty of all the different techniques, but without being rude about it. Okay, so here's a couple of my rules. There's no such thing as good and bad singing. This comes back to what I was talking about with singers all being worthy to be singing. There is more developed and there is less developed singing, but there's no good or bad. And this is important to me for two reasons. One, because if you feel like your singing is bad, then you're more likely to just feel like you're bad. And it's just not a great mental place to be. It's not going to help you mentally and emotionally to improve in your singing. But the second reason is that it's not very specific. Saying that something is good or bad is so non-specific, no one knows what it means. It could mean I like it or I don't like it, and everybody likes different things. So trying to say that something is inherently good because I like it, not specific. It doesn't really tell the singer like what they could change, what muscles to change, how to think about it differently. So it's not, first of all, it's not helpful. Second of all, it can be like damaging for the mental psyche of the singer. So no good or bad. And I really try with my students in my studio to let them know that there's no good or bad. And when they do something, when they change something in their technique, I really try to catch myself and not say better, because it's not better. Your singing doesn't get better. It just became more developed in a specific way. And I try to say that, oh, did you notice that your vibrato sped up? Did you notice that your sound got darker? Did you notice that your vowel got clearer? Those are clearer instructions. They are more specific and they're less rooted in like your value as a person. Like your vowel being clearer isn't psychologically the same as, oh, good, bad, you're good, bad, you're better. You know, we're not doing that. So we're giving specific cues to singers, to yourself, like if you're critiquing yourself, critiquing recordings of yourself. And then when we're giving criticism of other singers, whether it's just in your own studies, whether it's on an online forum, Or if you're making a YouTube video, we're gonna try to be specific about the criticism and say, not that it's good or bad, but that this is happening, and this is why it's working or it's not working. Okay? And then my second major rule is just don't be a dirtbag about it. You don't need to like show that you're better than another singer, and you don't need to tell them that you're smarter than they are or that you've studied in a better place if you're trying to criticize them. You don't, we're definitely not criticizing the way people look, their bodies. I'm always like 1 second away from getting hit by a car and dying when I walk in this town. We're not criticizing bodies. We're not criticizing faces. We're not criticizing the way people look. That's not part of our art, right? We can obviously criticize acting skills. Acting skills is super important for an opera singer, so we can criticize that. But again, we're not going to say good or bad. Let's get specific. Let's talk about what's really working, and try to push the level of our singing. Like, I personally, I don't know if I'll ever get there, but I want to sing like Apollo Granforte. He's like the baritone of my dreams, and like, I'm shooting for the stars, maybe even better. Like, I want to sing even better than Apollo Granforte. Will that ever happen? Who knows? Like, it's probably statistically not going to happen, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't be like trying to criticize every little bit of his voice and other voices to try to figure out what was he doing that other people weren't doing, so that I can try to sing like him or better. And I want my students to feel like they're shooting for the stars. They want to sing at the highest level. And it's like, yeah, what is Tebaldi doing? And some people would say, oh no, Tebaldi's just like a freak of nature, so there's no point trying to understand what she did. Or Birgit Nilsson. Oh, I get that all the time, especially with Birgit Nilsson. Oh, she was just like this special creature, so there's no way for you to understand or comprehend what she did. I'm like, no, we're learning exactly what Birgit Nilsson did, and we're gonna do it in a way where we don't have to compare people and be like, oh, well, if you're not Birgit Nilsson, then you're a piece of garbage and you shouldn't be singing on the stage. No, we're not doing that, but we're pushing ourselves to the highest limit that we could possibly find. We're gonna do it in the kindest way possible, and we're going to use language that is specific and helpful instead of just saying good or bad. And so if you hear recordings of me out there, I 100% want you to criticize every little bit of that. And the criticism that I got, that I shared at the beginning of this video, I mean, it was a little bit more specific than good or bad, but just saying that the sound doesn't sound natural is not specific enough. But please, by all means, listen to my recordings, criticize them, use them to compare to other singers, learn everything that you possibly can from them, and use them to help you to become a better singer, to help your students become a better singer. And check out my website, evandunn.com. There's an article about this topic, about why we should compare singers, but do it nicely. That's the title of the article, and I'll post the link so that you can check that out. And you know what? I'm gonna do some more comparisons of my own singing, and I'm gonna tell you all the things that I need to work on, because you think that you know all the things that I need to work on. I guarantee you my list is 100 times longer than your list for the things that I need to work on. And that's totally cool. And I'll start with like my Russian in that opening clip. Needed so much work. My Russian has improved over the last year, but it's gonna be a process. But I hope that this video was helpful for you. I hope that it helps to shed some light into why we need to criticize, how you can criticize your own voice, your students' voices, other people's voices, and do it in a way that builds you up, helps you to feel empowered, encouraged, and like that you can achieve all of your wildest dreams in your singing. And if you want some help with this, check out evandunn.com, and please like and subscribe. Share these videos around, and let's start talking about the art of positive criticism. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.